I left my girlfriend without a word when she was at her poorest. Years later, after she became successful, she had people find me and force me to marry her. Everyone says she loves me, that I'm the one she holds closest to her heart. But just days after the wedding, she started getting intimate with all sorts of men, even bringing them home at night. It pierced my heart and turned me into the laughingstock of our social circle. I didn't say anything, just quietly moved into the guest room, but that only seemed to anger her more. Her eyes would go red, she'd grab me, kiss me hard, and demand, "Don't you feel anything at all?" Every moment she spent provoking me, all I could think about was how many days I had left. She didn't know I was terminally ill, that every second of my life was filled with pain. Less than 3 months into my marriage with Sarah Sullivan, friends had already sent me pictures of her getting cozy with more than 10 different men. Ryan Miller's been around Miss Sullivan for a whole month now, longer than any of the others. You don't think Sarah Sullivan's actually catching feelings for him, do you? I stared silently at the photo my friend sent. It showed the two of them leaving a hotel, the intimacy between them unmistakable. Looks like they spent the night together. You need to do something before it's too late. My finger hovered over the screen, but in the end, I just turned off my iPhone. Yesterday was my birthday, but I woke up aching all over, my nose bleeding non-stop. I went to City General Hospital for a full checkup, and the doctor told me I probably wouldn't live to see next summer. It took only a few seconds for me to accept it. I wasn't afraid of dying, just afraid of the pain. The doctor said there was medication that could lessen the pain, but the only problem was the price. I couldn't afford it. My only option was to go to Sarah Sullivan. When I arrived at the Sullivan Group, the person who greeted me was Ryan Miller. Clean-cut, almost boyish, exactly Sarah Sullivan's type. A senior at Stanford, just a young college kid who'd started as Sarah's secretary a month ago. Miss Sullivan still in a meeting. "Just stand here and wait," Ryan said, tilting his head back to look down at me. I ignored him and sat on a chair. Ryan scoffed, annoyed, then walked to a colleague and whispered, "How is the boss's husband so ugly? His face is ghost white, like he's about to drop dead. He doesn't match Miss Sullivan at all." The colleague startled and tugged his sleeve. "He probably just hasn't rested well. Actually, you kind of look like him. But when he's well, he's much more handsome than you. Miss Sullivan really loves him. I'd advise you to tone down your attitude and not provoke him, or Miss Sullivan won't let you off easy." Ryan curled his lip. "How do I look anything like him? I'm obviously way better looking than that ugly guy. You must be blind." Even though they kept their voices low, the office was quiet, and I heard everything. I was bundled in a bulky coat, my face pale and gaunt from the pain. Ugly indeed, and dying indeed. Ryan really didn't like people saying, "Sarah Sullivan loves me more." "Ethan, have some water," Ryan suddenly said, changing his tone. "Miss Sullivan is just busy. That's why she's keeping you waiting. Please don't worry. It's just that usually when I come looking for Miss Sullivan, she drops everything to see me, no matter how busy she is. I thought she was like that with everyone, but I guess not." His fake hesitation couldn't hide the smug smile on his face. He wanted me to know how important he was to her. Seeing the dimples that appeared when he smiled gave me a jolt. He really did resemble me somehow. And there was some truth in what he said. Sarah treated him differently than the other men. Over the last 3 months, she'd had a constant stream of lovers, sometimes even bringing them home overnight so I'd see them. But they were just props she used to provoke me. Ryan was different. Her flings lasted at most 5 days, some not even half a day. Only Ryan had lasted an entire month. Movies, amusement parks, dinners, shopping, she even bought him a mansion to live in. Sarah gave him money and affection. They were like any loving young couple. I pressed my lips together, swallowed the pain, and reached for the water glass. Smiling gently, I tilted my head and said softly, "If she cares about you so much, why does she still let you be a gold digger?" Ryan's face flushed red. If you hadn't gotten lucky and met Sullivan before I did, why would she ever be with you? You're so ugly and worn out now. How can you compare to me? Besides, haven't you heard? The one who isn't loved is the real gold digger. Miss Sullivan loves me now, so you're the gold digger. The nerve of that statement. My smile didn't fade, if anything, it grew gentler. If she loves you that much, she must listen to whatever you say, right? Ryan's mood brightened instantly. Of course. Whatever I ask for, Miss Sullivan buys me. In that case, I said, if you asked her to divorce me and marry you instead, she'd definitely agree. Ryan froze. His colleague sensed the shift and tugged at him, but I meant what I said. I'd decided long ago not to let Sarah get under my skin. She wasn't worth my sadness, anger, or jealousy. Ryan grabbed the water glass from my hand, lost his balance, and stumbled. Hot water splashed all over him, the glass shattering on the floor. He scrambled to apologize, bowing repeatedly. I'll pick it up right now, Ethan. Please don't be angry. He crouched down to gather the shards, but cut his palm deeply. Blood pooled instantly. Sarah, watching through the office window, spotted the injured Ryan. She rushed out, grabbed his hand, eyes filled with concern. I'm fine, Ryan said weakly. It was my fault. I was clumsy. Please don't blame anyone else. Sarah's gaze swept the area, landing on me. Who gave you permission to hurt Ryan Miller? I opened my mouth, but whatever explanation I had died when I saw her icy stare. So what if I did? I heard myself say. Ryan looked startled, then his voice turned even more wounded. It's my fault for being a gold digger, for being the other man, for falling for someone I shouldn't love. Ethan has every right to be angry. I deserve it. But I really can't control my feelings. As long as you don't send me away, I'm willing to be your lover for the rest of my life. He gazed at Sarah. Miss Sullivan, I love you. Sarah chuckled softly and gently hugged him. I know. Don't be upset, and don't take his words to heart. I remembered why I came and said coldly, I need $14,000. Sarah sneered, gritting her teeth. Just as I thought. Asking for money again. You really are a gold digger. Although we've been married for 3 months, we didn't even have each other's contact info. The few times I went to her were always for money. It was our agreement, if I married her, she'd give me money. Before, no matter the amount, she gave it to me. But this time, she smirked. I can give you the money, but first you have to kneel and apologize to Ryan Miller. I closed my eyes, my voice weak. Impossible. Sarah wanted to humiliate me just to defend Ryan. The pain in my heart overshadowed the physical pain. Are you sure you don't want to reconsider? She scoffed. If you swallow your pride, that $14,000 could be yours. No, thank you. Forcing back the pain, I turned and walked out. It was February, the wind bone-chilling, but my heart felt colder. Sarah Sullivan, if you knew later that this money could have let me live a little longer, a little more comfortably, would you regret today? The short walk from the Sullivan group to my place took me an hour, trembling the whole way. Back home, I took my medicine, curled under the covers, and swallowed sleeping pills, just wanting to sleep deeply enough not to feel anything. I drifted into a dream from when Sarah still loved me. I was 19 then, and she hadn't started her business yet. Far from wealthy. It was Valentine's Day, and we were walking hand in hand in the light snow when we saw a couple coming out of a flower shop. The boy held a pink bouquet, vibrant against the white snow. I stared, sighing, it's so beautiful. Sarah hugged me silently, hiding her reddened eyes, staying by my side until dark. 3 days later, on my birthday, she appeared below my dorm holding a pink bouquet. It cost $141. She'd spent 3 whole days in the freezing cold handing out flyers to earn $150. Her face was pale from the cold. I hugged her, voice shaking. Sarah Sullivan, I'm not worth you sacrificing your health. She kissed me, silencing me. You are worth it, Ethan. You deserve the best things in the world. She pushed the flowers into my arms. Ethan, you're more beautiful than the flowers. I cried, and she wiped my tears, embarrassed as she picked up a small red velvet cake. I didn't have much money left after buying the flowers, so I could only get a 6-inch cake. But I won't eat any. It's all for you. I chuckled softly. It's enough. Enough for us to share. We ate it together in the snow. I don't remember the taste, only how sweet it felt. I've never eaten a red velvet cake that delicious since, nor seen anything more radiant than Sarah holding those flowers. Half asleep, I thought I heard Sarah calling my name. Cherishing the moment, I whispered, Sarah, I want a pink bouquet, and I want red velvet cake. Before I could hear her reply, I fell back into sleep. When I woke, it was the middle of the night. Snow falling heavily outside. The door opened, and Sarah walked in. She came to my bedside, frowning. Why do you look so pale? Are you feeling unwell? Maybe it was the late hour or the lamplight, but her voice held a trace of concern, like the past. I froze. When she reached to touch my face, I snapped back and slapped her hand away. Don't touch me. Sarah stared at her reddened hand, her expression darkening. Ethan, what the hell is wrong with you? I didn't answer. Why are you back? I scoffed. She had bought Ryan a mansion and stayed there most nights. He took care of her, made her laugh. Sarah's face grew even darker. She grabbed me forcefully from the bed. What are you doing? Let go of me. My body was too weak from the pain to resist. I stumbled as she dragged me into the living room. You said you wanted a peony bouquet and red velvet cake. I bought them for you as fast as I could. And this is the attitude I get? I followed her pointing finger. On the dining table sat a large red velvet cake with candles, and next to it, a bouquet of delicate peonies. So I really had spoken in my sleep. Sarah Sullivan shoved the peony bouquet into my hands. Here, take the peony bouquet you wanted. I didn't get you a big red velvet cake back then, so I'm making up for it now. Can you just stop fighting with me? What was she trying to do? Did she want us to go back to how we used to be? But I didn't need that anymore. I was terminally ill. I would die soon. The peony bouquet and red velvet cake only belonged in memories, not in my life now. Just like I didn't want her anymore. I threw the bouquet into the trash can, walked to the table, and tossed the red velvet cake in too. Sarah Sullivan froze for a few seconds, then her expression twisted with anger. Veins bulged on her forehead as she slammed me against the wall, teeth clenched. Ethan, do you just have to oppose me? Ignoring the ache spreading through my back, I forced a smile. So, what if I do? Sarah Sullivan, I am opposing you. That was just something I mumbled half-conscious, I said quietly. And you rushed out to do it immediately. Still as foolish as ever. I deliberately provoked her, watching her face darken. Something snapped inside her. She lunged at me, kissing me hard, biting and clawing. Her teeth sank into my lip until I tasted blood. She pushed me onto the sofa and bit my neck. Pain shot through me, making my whole body tremble. I gasped sharply, shoved her away, and cursed, Sarah Sullivan, get off me. Don't touch me. You disgust me. She ignored my struggling, pressing her face into my shoulder and muttering, Ethan, you're the most repulsive person in the world. Why can't you just not fight me one time? Do you know, all these years I've been waiting for you to give in and comfort me? Her voice cracked. When I heard you say you wanted a peony bouquet and red velvet cake earlier, I was so happy I rushed out in my slippers. I didn't even notice the car coming down the street, I almost got hit. And then you call me stupid and throw my feelings back in my face. She lifted her head, staring at me with tears shimmering in her eyes. Ethan, how can you be so cruel to me? Are you even human? My own eyes were red as I stared back, refusing to look away. Neither of us spoke. Neither of us blinked. Seconds crawled by. Then Sarah Sullivan moved. She slowly leaned in until her lips were almost on mine. Just as I was about to push her away, an iPhone rang. She froze. After a moment, she sat up and answered it. The screen flashed just long enough for me to see the caller ID. Ryan Miller. Sarah hesitated before picking up. The room went completely silent. I could hear Ryan crying through the phone. Miss Sullivan, did you go see Ethan? I made a whole dinner tonight and waited for you, but the food's gone cold. You still haven't come back. M. Sullivan, don't you want me anymore? Don't you like me anymore? Wind howled in the background. It's snowing and it's so cold. My head feels dizzy. I went to a nightclub to drink. There's so many people here. Women keep looking at me, some tried hitting on me, but I turned them down. I hate the way they look at me. I'm scared. M. Sullivan, I want to go home. Can you come pick me up? Sarah didn't reply to him. She was staring at me. Only me. For some reason, I turned my head away. She grabbed my chin and pulled my face back toward her. Ethan, do you want me to leave? Just ask me to stay. If you beg me, I'll stay. I won't go get Ryan Miller. Just beg me. Beg? I laughed under my breath, pushed her away, and said clearly, Sarah Sullivan, I will never beg you. Forget it. If you're going to get Ryan Miller, then get the hell out. She let out a cold, bitter laugh. Fine. 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 Well done, Ethan. Her voice was icy, but when she spoke into the phone, it turned unbelievably gentle. Ryan, send me the nightclub's location. I'll be there soon. I'm coming to take you home. Our home. She raised an eyebrow at me, as if to say, you don't want me, but someone else does. Without another look, she turned and slammed the door. The sound echoed through the room and matched the ache twisting inside my chest. My hands trembled as I covered my pale face. Sarah Sullivan probably didn't remember how many times I had begged her in the past. Sarah Sullivan, can we not fight? Can we talk properly? Can we try again? Please be a little gentler with me. But back then she had stared at me coldly, shoved me to the floor, and said, Ethan, what right do you have to make demands of me? That sentence carved itself into my memory. That was the day I swore I would never beg her again. Never. The pain kept me from moving much, so I stayed home for the next few days. My meals were irregular, sometimes I skipped them entirely. When I was hungry, I grabbed whatever was easiest, but I didn't eat much. Eventually, the groceries ran out. I had no choice but to go out and buy food. On my way home, several reporters stopped me on Maple Street. One young man pushed ahead of the others, waving his phone. Mr. Thompson, what are your thoughts on what's happening between Miss Sullivan and Ryan Miller that's trending on Twitter? Twitter trends. My days and nights were all mixed up. I had been living in a haze, unaware of anything outside, let alone Twitter. I took out my iPhone and searched. Ryan Miller had apparently offended a woman, and when Sarah arrived, she fiercely defended him and bankrupted that woman's company. It was the first time Sarah defended any man besides me. The story exploded online. Sarah was already famous, her company's rapid growth, her beauty, her reputation. Anything about her spread instantly. I kept my face blank and headed toward home, ignoring the questions. But the young reporter chased after me. Mr. Thompson, you still haven't answered. That's very impolite. I looked at him. His eyes wavered, but he forced himself to keep going. What are your thoughts? What is there to think, I replied coldly, about the affair between a cheating woman and her gold-digger man? His eyes lit up. Mr. Thompson, I heard you and Sarah Sullivan broke up years ago. No, actually, that you dumped her. And because of money. I stayed silent, listening to him dig deeper. And after she became successful, you used your old relationship to get back with her for her money, even forcing her to marry you using shady tactics. Sarah Sullivan is with someone else now. That proves she's found real love. They look perfect together. But you're still clinging to your position as her husband, calling Ryan Miller a gold digger. Don't you think that's too much? The accusations were ridiculous, but I didn't even have the strength to sneer. I grabbed the ID badge hanging from his chest. One glance told me he was an intern, a university student. The same university Ryan Miller attended. You know Ryan Miller, don't you? His face tightened. He snatched his pass back quickly. So what if I know him? I'm a reporter. Everything I said is part of my job. No personal agenda. No personal agenda? I scoffed softly. Sure. Then I added, since you've heard so much, haven't you heard the rumors in our circle? Rumors? He echoed. Everyone knows Sarah Sullivan used every trick she could to force me into marrying her back then. Why do you think she still hasn't divorced me, even now, when she supposedly found her true love? You're a reporter, yet you don't even know what everyone in our circle knows. That's your professionalism. His face flushed with embarrassment. He tried to argue but couldn't speak. And about being rude, I added, I don't owe you answers. Don't guilt-trip me. Move. You're blocking my way home. The reporters bristled. Mr. Thompson, what's that supposed to mean? Aren't reporters important? Are you looking down on us? I didn't expect such bizarre logic. I took a deep breath, trying to answer, but before I could say anything, they gasped. We barely said anything. How can you get so worked up that your nose started bleeding? Are you that fragile? I pulled out a tissue and wiped the blood. I'd had so many nosebleeds recently that the motion felt automatic. I'm not angry, I said calmly. And no, this isn't because of you. I have a terminal illness. I'm dying. My body is failing. That's all. They stared at me, stunned. I used the silence to slip away and close my front door, but I still heard the intern scoffing outside. Terminal illness? I don't believe it. He's just trying to get sympathy. If he's dying, then die already. Making a scene over a nosebleed. Pathetic. Embarrassment to men. I let out a weak chuckle and shut the door fully. I was dying anyway. No point arguing. Time would reveal the truth. I never expected the video of that interview to blow up on Twitter. Thousands of comments mocked me. This guy's full of crap. He has a wife like Miss Sullivan and says he was forced. As if she needs to force anyone. If I were married to her, I'd cling to her 24/7. He's disgusting. He claims she loves him. Shameless. Reporter sounds more believable. Dude probably dumped her and crawled back. He looks awful though, maybe he really is dying. Who cares if he dies? He said he didn't want the marriage but still did it. Hypocrite. Then Sarah Sullivan posted. Leave Ethan alone. I will never divorce him. Her message slowed the attacks a little, but not much. People still hated me. A new comment popped up. Looks like the reporters who interviewed Ethan suddenly disappeared from their news outlet's official site. Fired, maybe? Almost certainly, people thought Miss Sullivan had pulled some strings. Sure, she was powerful, but why would she defend Ethan? Did she actually love him? Maybe her husband had some dirt on her. While everyone was throwing around guesses, a sudden comment appeared, none of you understand anything. You don't know the first thing about it. Why are you all just wildly speculating? That message immediately got everyone's attention. Oh. So someone actually knew something? People begged them to spill the truth, but after posting that single comment, the person disappeared. So everyone drifted back to their arguments. But I couldn't look away from that one message. Because the real reason I left Sarah Sullivan back then, honestly, it's painfully cliché. My life used to be completely ordinary. I studied hard for years, got into a good university, even had a girlfriend who truly loved me. I was looking forward to graduating, finding a job, making money, and living a comfortable, peaceful life. Just when I thought the quiet happiness would last forever, devastating news arrived. My mother, who had always been healthy, suddenly collapsed and was rushed to City General Hospital. When I got there, panicking, I found her lying in a VIP ward, her face pale. The doctor said she had a terminal illness, extremely rare in medical history, with no cure. And worse, it was hereditary. Not only was I at high risk of developing it, but any child I had would also face the same fate. My mother's illness progressed fast. The woman who had always been so full of life became thin and frail within days. Her nose wouldn't stop bleeding, and she even fainted from blood loss. I spent my days running around taking care of her, and during the quiet moments, I'd just stare at her, dazed, unable to process how I could be losing her so suddenly. When she woke from fainting, she still forced a weak smile to comfort me. "Ethan, don't be sad. Mom's just going to another world to watch over you. Don't be silly. Everyone dies eventually, I'm just leaving a bit early." Then her expression darkened, her voice heavy. "Ethan, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm terrified you'll inherit my illness. Mom wants you to live a long life. And if you got sick, what would Sarah Sullivan do?" Hearing her mention Sarah startled me. She continued softly. "Sarah was a good kid," she said. "We had cared about each other for so long, since high school, even though we thought we were hiding it. She remembered how I'd get that silly grin on my face, barely touch my breakfast before rushing off to school, and she'd secretly watch me from the window. She'd see Sarah waiting for me on Maple Street with her bicycle. She told me Sarah had lived a hard life, her parents divorced, and neither wanted her. She lived like an orphan, surviving on very little, yet she never hesitated to spend on me." I sniffled, trying to hold back tears. Sarah really had been good to me. Anything other kids had, she'd find a way to get for me. Mom sighed. She'd been so happy that such a wonderful girl loved me. Watching us go from high school to college, still strong, had put her heart at ease. Sarah was smart, hardworking, ambitious, her strength of character showed how much hardship she'd endured. Saying this, Mom's tears streamed down her face. "It's my fault," she cried. "If I hadn't gotten sick, especially with something hereditary, you too could have been happy. I'd rather drop dead right now than see you inherit this." I choked out, "Mom, don't say that. You'll get better. Doctors will find a cure. They'll save you." I clung desperately to that hope, but it was only hope. The doctors never found a cure. Mom eventually died. At the same time, Sarah's grandmother, who raised her, fell sick and needed treatment at the Mayo Clinic. The costs were overwhelming. She worked multiple part-time jobs to pay for it, so she didn't notice anything was wrong with me. I couldn't burden her with my problems. I decided to tell her after her grandmother recovered, but instead, her grandmother's condition only worsened after treatment, and eventually she passed away. Sarah clung to me, burying her face in my neck, whispering hoarsely, "Ethan, you're all I have left." The words I'd been about to say died in my throat. Sarah always acted strong, but deep down she was fragile. She had only me. And didn't I only have her? I knew how deeply she loved me. She had just lost her grandmother, if she found out she might lose me too, and later, when I eventually died, she wouldn't be able to go on. More than once, I cried quietly in the dark, hating fate. Why did life have to be so cruel? Why us? 7 years have passed since then, but even now, thinking about it still hurts. I always knew death could come for me anytime. And now, that time is really here. I should visit Mom at the memorial park and tell her it's the last time, because I'll be joining her soon. I hoped she'd recognize me in heaven quickly, or I'd be annoyed. I bought her favorite organic fruit basket. But before going, there was something else I needed to bring, the crucifix pendant Mom got for me, so I went to the Sullivan Group building to get it back from Sarah. Mom had adored Sarah, treated her like her own daughter. Back when we were still happy, in our senior year at Stanford, planning to marry after graduation, Mom went with a friend to pray and had 2 crucifix pendants blessed, each engraved with one of our birth dates. Mom wanted them to protect us and bless our love. She told me to give Sarah the one with her birth date and insisted she wanted to wear the one with mine. Sarah had smiled, asking to keep the pendant with my birth date, saying she'd treasure it like she treasured me, that seeing it felt like seeing me. I'd felt so happy and agreed to swap pendants. But now she didn't even wear it anymore. She left it lying around her office. I was afraid that after I died, she'd throw it away like trash. I couldn't let that happen. I wanted to wear it when I went to see Mom in heaven. When I entered her office, Sarah was staring at her iPhone, frowning, watching the video of reporters interviewing me, where I had a nosebleed and said I was terminally ill. She only noticed me when my shadow fell across her screen. She turned off the phone calmly and looked at me without asking anything. I didn't care. I asked for the crucifix pendant Mom got for me. Lost it, she said. I froze. Lost it? You lost the crucifix pendant my mom got for me? My anger burned. Ryan Miller rushed in, stepping in front of her. Ethan, calm down. Let's talk. Don't get worked up. I tried to breathe, clenched my fists, and repeated, my crucifix pendant. I want my crucifix pendant. Ryan acted like he suddenly realized. Oh, that? The one blessed at the chapel. I saw it and liked it, so I pestered Miss Sullivan until she gave it to me. She said it brings peace and would protect me. Funny thing, it even had my birth date on it. She said it was fate. I saw a smirk in his eyes. Rage filled me. I knew he recognized my birth date. He knew it was mine. This meant his childish little gold digger act the other day was just a deliberate provocation. I snapped. I shoved him aside, grabbed a folder, and hurled it at Sarah. That crucifix pendant, why did you give it to someone else? The folder hit her face and left a scratch. She wiped the blood away casually and smiled. Sorry, I forgot it was yours. I thought it was just some useless trinket. When Ryan wanted it, I gave it to him. Her smile only widened. I lunged at her in fury. She didn't react, just stared at me coldly. Ryan pushed me away, yelling, "It's just a stupid crucifix pendant. Why are you hitting people? Are you crazy?" He yanked the pendant off his wrist and threw it to the floor. You think I wanted your junk? I wouldn't even look at something like that normally. Take your stuff and get out. His words faded into nothing. All I saw were the broken pieces of the crucifix pendant at my feet, the bead scattered, the bead engraved with my birthday shattered beyond recognition. My heart pounded painfully. Tears fell before I realized it. That pendant was supposed to protect me, and now it was broken, just like my life. I glared at Ryan, raising my hand to slap him, but Sarah grabbed my arm midair. Her voice was cold. Ethan Thompson, enough. Stop this nonsense. Nonsense? I stared at her, stunned. Then disappointment overwhelmed me. She once promised to cherish the pendant, to protect me, now she'd tossed it aside and didn't care it was destroyed. My nose suddenly tingled, and blood trickled out, staining my clothes. Worse than before. I didn't even bother to wipe it. Sarah rushed toward me. Why is your nose bleeding again? I smiled weakly. I told you I'm dying. She grabbed tissues, wiping frantically. What are you talking about? You were fine earlier. How could you be dying? You're saying this just to make me panic, right? Fine, you win. I still care about you. But as my face grew paler and the blood wouldn't stop, panic overtook her. Ethan, stop pretending. Stop bleeding. Please. My strength left me, and I collapsed. Her words sounded ridiculous, like I could control a nosebleed. Ryan, urged by her frantic yelling, fumbled to call an ambulance. Sarah kept wiping, running out of tissues as blood soaked her clothes. My consciousness faded. And just before everything went dark, I saw Sarah's face, lost, helpless, and crying like a child. She kept murmuring, "Why? Why is this happening? Why won't the blood wipe away? Why won't it stop? Ethan Thompson, get better, please don't scare me like this. I'm scared." When I regained consciousness, the sharp smell of disinfectant hit me. I figured I must be in City General Hospital. A doctor was saying, he's lost the will to live himself, and the stress aggravated his symptoms. If he had managed it with medication, he could have lived until next spring at least, but he said he had no dollar. He wouldn't buy the meds. His condition is uncontrollable now. Even medication won't help at this point. There's no need for further treatment. Sarah Sullivan's voice cut in sharply. Liar. How could my husband be dying? He was perfectly fine just a few days ago. How could he suddenly have a terminal illness? Her voice rose, sharp and piercing, as she confronted the doctor. I don't care what you have to do. You have to find a way to treat my husband. If you can't, you're fired. Get out of here right now. Sarah Sullivan searched for countless top doctors across the country, saying she would pay any price if they could just cure her husband. In just a few days, she turned the entire medical community upside down. But money can't cure every illness. Mine was a terminal condition no doctor had found a treatment for in years. Sarah refused to accept it, shutting out anything the doctor said. She was convinced there had to be a cure for her husband somewhere in the world. If they couldn't cure me here, she decided she would take me abroad. She had already fired several doctors these past days, so now no one dared stop her frantic efforts, until my childhood friend appeared. Jessica Wilson slapped Sarah Sullivan across the face, forcing her to stop. Miss Sullivan, you have money, sure, but where were you before? Now you decide you want to save him. It's too late. Ethan can't hold on anymore. Sarah turned her head away from the sting of the slap. After a moment of silence, her voice broke with tears. How can he not hold on? Let me take him abroad, please. We can definitely find a cure for my husband. He can definitely survive. Jessica Wilson, I'm begging you. Please just give Ethan to me. Jessica scoffed. Impossible. I'll stand right here and stop you. There's no way I'm letting you take him away. And Ethan doesn't want to leave either. He called me. Jessica continued, he said if he ever got so sick he was just stuck lying in bed, not to bother dragging him through the Mayo Clinic again. He wanted to go quickly. He didn't want to live in pain. Jessica knew better than anyone how terrified I was of pain. Even though her heart ached hearing those words, she agreed through her tears. After Jessica played the recording of my call with her, Sarah swayed, so pale she could barely stand. How? How could this happen? How could my husband die? If he dies, what will I do? How could he leave me all alone in this world? Jessica looked at her without expression. How are you alone? You still have all those gold diggers around you. Does Ethan leaving really affect you? Stop pretending you're so devoted to him. It just makes people sick. It doesn't make you look devoted. Someone sat down beside my bed in the VIP ward and took my hand. Jessica's voice followed. Ethan, do you really not want to live? Don't you want to wake up? You haven't said goodbye to me yet. You haven't said goodbye to Aunt Thompson. I knew I might die suddenly from this terminal illness, so I had decided to say a proper goodbye to the world. But I hadn't said goodbye yet. I couldn't die, not now. Tears slipped from the corners of my eyes. The life monitor beside me started beeping urgently. Doctors rushed in, calling it a miracle that I was showing signs of waking up. They told Jessica to keep talking to me. Jessica agreed excitedly. She stayed by my side non-stop afterward, holding my hand and talking until her voice grew strained. She told funny stories from our past, sometimes loud and animated, sometimes quiet and downcast, her emotions all over the place. Hearing her fight to wake me, I didn't want to disappoint her anymore. I stopped giving in and started fighting my way out of the fog. I wanted to comfort her, to tell her not to be sad. Thankfully, I woke up. For the entire week after, Jessica stayed with me, constantly taking care of me. If it wouldn't have been improper, she probably would have watched over me even in the bathroom. I found myself hoping I could recover quickly, just so Jessica wouldn't be so tense. Her anxiety had become extreme. A few times when I was only lightly asleep, I felt her place her hand under my nose to check if I was still breathing. At lunchtime, Jessica had to go get her food. Even then, she kept glancing back at me before leaving. Suddenly, I needed to use the restroom. She usually helped me to the door, but since she wasn't here, I wanted to try on my own. My body swayed, but I managed to make it to the restroom. Everything went smoothly inside, and I breathed a sigh of relief. But I celebrated too soon. When I stood up and took a single step, everything went dark. I lost consciousness for a few seconds, lost control of my body, and crashed to the floor. Pain shot through my face and my nose started bleeding again. Gritting my teeth, I tried to get up. When I lifted my head, the mirror came into view, my face was completely covered in blood, my features blurred and unrecognizable. I froze, horrified, unable to even call out. At that moment, Sarah Sullivan rushed in. She immediately grabbed me, turned me away from the mirror, and pulled me into her arms, her touch full of pain and concern. "It's okay, it's okay. Don't be scared. You're all right." She helped me back to my bed. Her eyes were red as she wiped my face with a damp towel. Seeing the bright red blood on the towel, tears streamed down her face and her body trembled. "I was only gone for a quick meeting," she said, her voice shaking. "How did you fall? And where did Jessica Wilson go? Why wasn't she here taking care of you? Doesn't she know how weak you are?" I frowned and looked at Sarah coldly. "Jessica went to get food. Besides," I continued firmly, "she has her own life. Her parents, friends, job, they're all abroad. Unlike me, who does nothing all day and is just a burden on her because of this illness. She has no obligation to take care of me. If you say one more bad thing about her, you can leave right now. I don't want to see you." Sarah opened her mouth as if to argue, but swallowed her words. When she saw the bleeding had stopped, she finally relaxed a little. She wiped her tears, composed herself, then demanded, "Ethan, don't you have a mouth? Why didn't you tell me you were sick?" "No, wait, you do have a mouth. You told Jessica. Why her instead of me? Do you think she's more important? Don't forget I'm your legal wife. We're supposed to be the closest to each other." My expression didn't change. "So what if the law says so? I just didn't want to tell you. I don't need your concern. I don't need you taking care of me in the final moments of my life. Whether you knew or not is irrelevant, I don't care." Even though that's what I said, I knew I hadn't intentionally hidden it from her. My medical chart had been sitting right on the table at home. She just never saw it. Because while I was sick, getting weaker, curled up on the floor, writhing in pain, biting my lip until it bled, feeling like I could die any second. She was off having fun with Ryan Miller. Ryan was younger, better looking, had a personality she preferred. She was happy living with him, never thinking of coming home. The one time she did come back for my birthday gala, she was too busy being angry to notice the medical chart. Thinking about this, my gaze turned even colder. I cut straight through her heart. Sarah Sullivan, I don't need you at all. Tears streamed down her face. Her eyes were red as she accused, Ethan, you're so heartless. Just like back then. You decided you didn't want me and left without a word. Suddenly she moved closer and threw her arms around me, clinging tightly. Her voice was thick with tears. Ethan, you don't want me, but I want you. I can't lose you. For a moment, my mind drifted. She still didn't know why I'd disappeared all those years ago. After my mother died, my mental state shattered. I woke up terrified at night, constantly dreaming that Sarah and I had a child, only for me to develop a terminal illness, and the child to inherit it too. In the dream, Sarah spent every last cent trying to save us, but we still died, and she killed herself out of despair. I didn't want her to die. I didn't want that future. She was a good, ambitious girl with a bright future. She deserved a healthy family and a happy life. I hated that I couldn't stay with her for life. I was jealous imagining other men with her. But I knew I couldn't drag her down. So back then, I left without hesitation. Only 2 months later, when my emotions stabilized, I realized I'd been wrong to leave without a word. I planned to return and explain everything, my sudden departure, my hereditary illness, the possibility of dying early. All the way back to our place, I imagined telling her everything. But before I even reached our door, I saw her from afar, holding someone and kissing them. I refused to believe it. I told myself it was someone who just looked like her. If I went closer, I'd see the differences. But as I approached, I saw how passionately they kissed. I saw her features clearly. I still tried to make excuses, maybe she had a sister, maybe identical twins. But then she unlocked our door and took the man inside, and everything inside me collapsed. I don't remember how I left that day. When I came back to my senses, I was already in a small mountain village in a remote city. The image of her kissing someone else kept replaying. I lay in bed for 2 days and 2 nights. Not processing it, more like hypnotizing myself. I kept telling myself this was the best outcome. She wasn't devastated when I left. She even found someone she liked. She would be happy. She would definitely be happy. But my heart hurt terribly. I drifted through the next few years, often crying in my sleep. I saw in financial news that she founded the Sullivan Group and turned it into a major company within years. I also learned she stayed single, though she had many male companions. I knew many things, but none of it mattered anymore. She had become too wealthy, too distant, we lived in different worlds. Slowly, I stopped paying attention. I moved on and started living a simple life, working, exploring food, seeing the world. Just when I thought life could go on like that I could quietly wait for death, Sarah Sullivan appeared again. She arranged for bodyguards to take me away, dragging me off by force to marry her. At the same time, she kept up her affairs with her lovers, even flaunting them right in front of me. When I asked her why she was doing this, she leaned against me, smiling as she said, "I just want revenge. Did you really think I'd still love you after all these years? I have plenty of gold diggers. You'd better behave, or I might get angry." I took a deep breath, trying hard to stay calm. I told her, "I don't want to marry you. There was a reason I left suddenly back then. My mom." I had barely started explaining what I never got the chance to say years ago when she slapped me across the face. "Don't you dare mention your mother to me. You're both the same, obsessed with money. Neither of you is any good. Ethan, when I say we're getting married, I'm not discussing it with you. I'm informing you. It doesn't matter if you don't want to. Sarah Sullivan was incredibly stubborn, so stubborn she wouldn't listen to a single word of explanation. She said, "Are you really that unwilling to marry me? But if you're unwilling, that only makes me want your name on that marriage certificate even more. You hurt me so badly back then. So now I have to hurt you even more. That's fair, isn't it?" I stared at Sarah Sullivan, suddenly feeling like she was a stranger. She wasn't the Sarah I once knew. I'd rather die than marry her. I never imagined she could become so despicable. Then she said, "I remember you had a childhood friend named Jessica Wilson, right?" I tensed immediately. "What are you planning?" Sarah kissed my lips indulgently. "Look how tense you are. What could I possibly do? Except, with the power and money I have now, one little order and her family's small business might not make it. Could you really stand by and watch her family go bankrupt?" I trembled with anger. Jessica's family had struggled for years. They'd finally started a small company and things were just beginning to look up. I couldn't let all of that be destroyed because of me. Besides, I didn't have long to live anyway. It didn't matter how I spent whatever time I had left. So, I married Sarah Sullivan. I just never expected her revenge to end so quickly. Only 3 months later, I was diagnosed with a terminal illness. The marks on my face were obvious. Jessica Wilson immediately noticed something was wrong. When she found out I hadn't waited for her and acted on my own, she was furious and ignored me for days. "If my mom were here, you wouldn't treat me like this," I told her. "I miss my mom. Can you take me to see her?" Jessica went silent for a moment, then said, "Of course. As soon as you're better, I'll take you to see Aunt Thompson." I knew my body, it was wrecked. There was no way I was going to recover. But I wanted to see my mom, and I didn't want Jessica to worry, so I agreed. Okay. Every day after that, I tried to stay optimistic. I followed every treatment, swallowed handfuls of pills, took every injection. The backs of my hands were bruised purple and blue. But I never complained. Whenever Jessica saw me like that, her eyes turned red. "Ethan, don't just push through it. If it hurts, tell me." I shook my head, pale. "It's okay. It doesn't hurt. Don't worry. I'll do my best to get better." All my efforts seemed to help. My body actually began improving a little, not like a healthy person, but at least I could walk on my own again. I looked at Jessica with hope. "Can you take me to see my mom now?" "Yes." She turned away, trying to hide the tears in her eyes, but the tremble in her voice gave everything away. The scattered beads from the crucifix pendant were still at Sullivan Group, but I no longer wanted to retrieve them. There was no point. I'd thought a lot these past few days. That necklace felt like fate. And with my terminal diagnosis, maybe it was destined to break. Nothing worth fussing over. Just when we were ready to leave, Sarah Sullivan showed up to stop me. "You're too weak right now. You're not going anywhere. Stay here at City General Hospital and rest." I insisted. "I want to go." "No," Sarah refused flatly. Then she called her bodyguards and ordered them to stand guard at my door so I couldn't leave. Jessica got furious and confronted her. "Ethan just wants to see his mom. Why won't you let him? What harm could one visit possibly do? Are you hoping all this stress will kill him faster so you can marry that gold digger you've been seeing without guilt?" Sarah glared icily. "My husband isn't going to die. He'll live a long life. As for visiting his aunt, there'll be plenty of time. Besides, Ethan is the one in the hospital, why isn't she coming here to see him?" Jessica turned to me, surprised. "My mom is all ready." Before I could finish, Sarah suddenly clutched her stomach, her face pale. "My stomach," she gasped. "It hurts so much." The bodyguards rushed her away to find a doctor. I stared blankly after her. Jessica sighed. Don't worry about her. Sarah always has so much energy. She'll be fine. I thought so too. Yeah. Jessica looked at me. Why haven't you told her why you left all those years ago? I shrugged helplessly. It's like just now. Every time I try, something interrupts us. I thought the bodyguards would leave since Sarah was gone, but they stayed at the door. Sorry, Mr. Thompson, one of them said. We can't let you leave without Miss Sullivan's permission. The faint smile I had disappeared. The fragile good mood I'd held onto for days evaporated. I retreated into silence again, just like before. I started sleeping more and more, at least 15 hours a day. When I was awake, I stared blankly out the window. My body was getting weaker. Maybe it was time to say goodbye to Jessica. I kept Jessica by my side every day, talking endlessly. She listened patiently until eventually she couldn't hold back her tears and cried. She knew I was saying goodbye, but she refused to accept I was really dying. Ethan, don't be like this. You still have so much time left. Strangely, I seemed to gain more energy over the next few days. But the test results were still grim, just a final burst before the end. Sarah hadn't visited, which made things feel quiet, almost peaceful. But then Ryan Miller suddenly showed up. Tears streamed down his face as he knelt beside me. Mr. Thompson, he sobbed, please let Sarah go. She's pregnant with my child. She's the mother of my baby. Stop using your dying condition to cling to her. I froze. The image of Sarah clutching her stomach flashed through my mind. She was pregnant. All this time I'd been sick, she'd been enjoying herself. She said she needed me, but her actions told a different story. Thank God I hadn't softened. Lost in thought, I didn't notice Ryan grab me. He suddenly pulled me, and being weak, I was half dragged out of bed. Blood rushed to my head, and my nose started bleeding. Jessica walked in at that exact moment. She rushed over, helped me up, and took out a tissue. I waved her off, signaling I could wipe it. Jessica shoved Ryan to the ground. Who gave you the right to hurt Ethan? Get out. Get out now. She turned to the bodyguards. Please escort him out. The bodyguards hesitated. They worked for Sarah, and everyone knew Ryan was her newest favorite. They didn't dare move him. Sorry, miss, one muttered. Miss Sullivan's orders were only to stop Mr. Thompson from leaving. A smug smile spread on Ryan's face. Then Sarah appeared, and he quickly switched to a pitiful act. Miss Sullivan, I just wanted to see Ethan, but they didn't welcome me. They pushed me to the ground. Sarah's dark gaze locked on me. Jessica stepped forward. I pushed him. So what? He deserved it. If it weren't for him. Ryan suddenly cried, Miss Sullivan, my ankle hurts. I think I twisted it when they pushed me. Could you take me to a doctor? Sarah stared at him but didn't respond. Instead, she told the bodyguards, you take him. Ryan blinked in disbelief. They pushed me so hard. I must be seriously hurt. Miss Sullivan, you don't know how much force. Enough. I couldn't stand it anymore. You say we pushed you, but why don't you mention how you almost dragged me off the bed first? And are you sure you came here to care about me? Ryan stammered, what? Drag you? I clearly came to check on you, and before I could say anything, you pushed me for no reason. I nodded. Since you're so certain, let's check the security footage. Security footage? Jessica came over with a laptop. Yes. Isn't surveillance standard in a VIP ward? You didn't know, Mr. Miller. Ryan's face went pale. Of course he didn't know. Miss Sullivan, my foot really hurts. Let's just go. But Sarah didn't move. She stared at the screen. As the footage played, her face darkened. Then she slapped Ryan so hard the sound echoed. "Who gave you the nerve to frame my husband? You're nothing but a toy I use when I'm bored. Did you really think you were important? And when did I ever tell you the baby I'm carrying is yours?" Ryan froze. Sarah turned to me. "Husband," she said, "I always use protection with other men. The baby is yours." I remembered that night. 2 nights before my diagnosis, upset about being forced to marry her, I had a few drinks. She'd come back for some files but didn't leave, and while I was dizzy and half-conscious, she forced herself on me. I never imagined that one time would get her pregnant. "We can't keep this baby." Her smile froze. "Husband, what do you mean? This is our child. Why can't we keep it? Are you worried about your health? Don't be. I've already found the best doctors. We'll definitely cure you." I stared at her for a long time before finally saying, "My illness is hereditary." "What?" Sarah blinked. "You always hated me for disappearing back then. Don't you want to know why? My mother died from this illness. I was afraid the same would happen to me, and any future child. I didn't want to burden you." Sarah shook her head over and over. "No. How could this be? Ethan's mother dead? Hereditary? This isn't what I thought. It's completely different." Dazed, she stumbled out of the ward. Ryan scrambled after her. The VIP ward fell silent. Jessica looked at me with sympathy. "Ethan." But I felt a sudden rush of energy. "Let's go." "Go where?" "And Sarah's people are blocking you." I chuckled softly. "They left with her. No guards were at the door anymore. I wanted to visit my mother. But first, I needed to buy her favorite snacks. While I picked up a few things, Jessica bought even more for me. "Hurry, try some. These are delicious." I hesitated. Jessica hated people eating in her car. She could almost read my thoughts. "I'm giving you special permission. You're allowed to eat in my car. From now on. Always." Her eyes reddened as she said it. A shadow passed through me, but I smiled. "You said it. If you go back on it next time, I'll be angry." "Okay." Jessica bought so many snacks. I ate until I was stuffed, but knowing I might never get to eat them again, I couldn't bear to stop. But why did the cotton candy taste salty? Shouldn't it be sweet? Oh, right. I started crying without realizing it. Tears are salty. I didn't stop eating until we reached Memorial Park. I looked at the loving photo of my mother smiling and gradually zoned out. "Mom, this might be the last time I come see you here. Don't say I'm unfil. I won't be coming back because I'll be joining you soon. I wonder if you can still cook where you are. I missed your cooking so much all these years." I leaned against my mother's gravestone, murmuring on and on. Jessica Wilson stood nearby, keeping me company, but her tears never stopped flowing. I smiled and teased her. "You still cry as much as you did when we were kids." Jessica Wilson didn't argue. She fumbled in her bag and pulled out a tissue for me. My nose was bleeding again. This might really be it for me. "Don't be sad. I'm just going on ahead. The money you've given me over the years, plus what I've earned from work, it's all tied to the AMX Platinum card. I've set up a living trust and everything goes to you. I also signed up to be an organ donor. I hope I can help someone else who needs it. Goodbye, Jessica Wilson." I slowly closed my eyes. Goodbye, beautiful world. I could hear Jessica Wilson sobbing uncontrollably. I wanted to tell her not to cry, but I lost consciousness, unable to comfort her. Jessica Wilson inherited the money, but didn't use it. Instead, she donated double the amount from her own account. She hoped this act of charity would bring Ethan good fortune, praying he wouldn't suffer in the next life, as he had in this one. Sarah Sullivan hadn't expected that running off for 2 days to cool down, unable to face the truth, would lead to this. She realized how foolish she'd been all these years. She wanted to beg for Ethan's forgiveness, only to return and find out he was dead. Because of the donor agreement he'd signed, his body had already been taken by City General Hospital. She didn't even get to see him one last time. Ethan was so cruel, not even leaving her ashes. Sarah Sullivan spent the following days in a daze. She couldn't distinguish dreams from reality, often believing Ethan was still alive. One day, at a birthday gala with friends, she viciously attacked a woman who was cheating on her husband. As she hit her, she screamed. "You have a husband, yet you're still fooling around. You're scum. You have no morals." Her friends at the party rushed to restrain her. "Sarah Sullivan, what the hell is wrong with you? You used to be just like us, always switching guys. You used to compete with us to see who could swap partners faster. Now you're calling us scum. What does that make you?" Sarah Sullivan broke down, shaking her head frantically. "I love my husband more than anything. I would never cheat. You're lying. You're trying to trick me. Love him most. Your kind of love is a joke." They showed her photos from their iPhones, pictures of her kissing various men. Sarah Sullivan froze, then fled in panic. She was convinced they were lying, but the photos were photoshopped. But after consulting 3 or 4 professional agencies, the results were unanimous. They weren't altered. The photos were real. How could she explain this? Would her husband be angry about what she'd done? He'd definitely be angry, wouldn't he? Ethan might even leave her, hating her past self. She broke things off with all her lovers, but she never imagined Ryan Miller, who seemed so docile on the surface, could be so terrifying underneath. He tried to run her down with his car. "Why? Why did you push me away? I love you so much more than anyone. Why won't you even look at me? If you won't be with me, then let's die together." Sarah Sullivan didn't want to die yet. She was carrying Ethan's child, her only remaining connection to him. She couldn't let it be severed. She dodged with all her strength, instinctively shielding her stomach with both hands. But the child couldn't be saved. She had a miscarriage. Ryan Miller was charged with attempted murder and sent to prison thanks to Sarah Sullivan. But even that wasn't enough for her. During a lull in his sentencing at the Manhattan Supreme Court, she lunged forward and stabbed him. "Go. What the hell? Atone for my child's death." Chaos erupted in the courtroom. Sarah Sullivan should have been sentenced too, but she was diagnosed with a mental illness. Declared mentally incompetent due to the success of traumas. Ultimately, she was committed to Silver Pine Sanatorium. Her daily behavior seemed normal. She kept her living space meticulously organized, except she would smile foolishly at empty space and talk to a crucifix pendant, clearly broken and pieced back together, like right now. "Honey, it's your birthday today. I'm going to make you a red velvet cake and give you a beautiful pay bouquet. Honey, your smile is so sweet and soft, just like cotton candy. But why does this cotton candy taste salty? It's not good at all. Sarah loves her honey the most. But why are you fading away? Please come back and see me, okay?" A long time passed until her tears ran dry. Slowly, agonizingly, she began to understand. She had broken Ethan's heart completely. He didn't love her anymore. He never wanted to see her.